Welcome back, everybody, to the energy tips for week 15, that is the 5th till the 12th of April 2019. Higher highs, lower lows. I think you guys know exactly what I'm referring to. It's pulling us into this next orbit, into this next octave, or whatever you want to call this, the higher frequency levels of our true self embodiment process. Okay, and this means that we have to go through a bunch of challenges, nothing new really, just becoming better at dealing with it and working through those challenges with our own medicine. And in the energy update here a few minutes ago, I've talked about the true self medicine. What is that? It's the love for ourselves, okay? It's the love for the divine flowing through us for ourselves and also in conjunction with others. So I want to make sure that you understand that when I talk about true self-love, that I'm not referring to some selfishness or egotistical love in the sense that it's all just about you, but to a degree, it's part of the challenge to let go of our codependencies, of the externalization of our power to love, of our doubts, of deserving and having permission to live, having permission to love. Those are all questions and problems that come from not really feeling this love within, okay? They all have to do with needing an object of love. And so the process here, the healing process that we are going through in this week particularly, is to shift our focus from needing this object to making ourselves subject of this love, and understanding that just due to our existence, just due to the fact that you live, you have this true self-love in you already. Whether or not you can feel it, whether or not you are heeding it, whether or not you can express it and actualize it, that has to do with where you're at in your process. And so many of you are experiencing these performance issues. Okay, performance has to do with performing, with putting on an act, with your false self. It's the opposite of your true self. And why do we constantly get caught up in this cycle again? That's because whenever our energy gets a little stressed out, and in this case it's mostly collective, it's coming in from the outside, we go back to our old ways. And a sure way for you to discern, to actually recognize that you are focusing on your ego ways at the moment, is when you begin to see everything in black and white, when you begin to feel, oh, it's got to be my way or the highway. That's when you know that you are stuck in your ego. That doesn't mean that you are stuck. It just means that your energy has gone beyond this true self threshold, and you're not really in connection with who you truly are. You are now connecting with what you were told to be or how you think you need to be, all false self stuff. Okay, so the only tip that you ever need to heed, and that works every time, is to focus your energy onto how to get back into this true self place, into how to get back into truth. All right, because then all these performance things, this negativity, all this doubting, all this wanting to give up, all this pessimism will dissipate. So I've mentioned this on many occasions, that our journey here, guys, is not the journey of acquiring something or getting better at something. It's the journey of letting go. It's the perfect sculpture within the granite block. That's your true self. And your false self is the granite block. And what you need to focus on instead of seeing all the chips and all the scars and all the things that went wrong, is on what's underneath it, what's in there. And when I talk about fully inhabiting your true self, then what I mean is to go into this place. This is an inner place, the inner sanctum, and there you can experience it firsthand. There you can feel your true self firsthand. And what this does to you then is that it ups your vibratory rate, it increases your radiance, and that then creates this new attractor field. And this is why, you know, in manifestation and when we talk about abundance, you know, why it often feels like it's counterintuitive, because when we feel lack, and by the way, lack and scarcity, those are impulses that come in with your ego, because your ego is the part of you that sees things as finite, that sees things as they're going to end soon, all right? And therefore, it's also the part in you that goes into this all or nothing place. But the true self in you knows that it's not going to go away, so it doesn't have that. It doesn't have to have that, okay? So you can trust that whatever journey it is that you're probably on this journey for quite a while already, and you'll probably be on this journey for a little longer. Each and every one of you here right now who can learn to transcend several aspects of your particular circumstances or conditions, be it lack, be it dysfunctionality, be it trauma, be it codependency, jumps into this new orbit, into this higher level of radiance, and therefore also a new level of, you know, things coming to you. So you're not supposed to go out and get it. Yes, there will be times when you have to do something. You know, you have to sort of pave the road so that abundance can find the road and bring it to you, okay? But the actual process of this increasing your potential and making things happen is more of a passive process. That's not something you are doing. Therefore, all thoughts of I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or I don't deserve this, are complete BS, guys. The only thing you ever need to do is to connect with your true self and make sure that, you know, abundance can find you, okay? And that has to do with your self-actualization, with how you express this, how you carry this out in the world. I made a few comments to you who feel a calling to do energy healing or energy supporting in whatever way. And for you guys, it's really, really important that you understand that. You know, yes, in times like this, you need a social media account, you need a website, you need a shop somewhere where people can sign up for it, or else this abundance that you are seeking through doing that which you love cannot come to you. It cannot find you, no matter how good you are. Okay, so it's not the question whether you're good enough or not. It's the question is, are you actually congruent in putting this out there in the world? And if not, then you have to do the necessary steps. You have to go into action, concerted action, as I like calling it. All right, so how is this going to look like here when we break this down into the energetic, physical, emotional, mental, social, spiritual? The energy centers involved next week are primarily your first. So we all have issues with our first chakra, guys, as empaths. So I want to warn you here, okay? If you don't know how to ground yourself, if you know how to ground yourself but not or you're not doing it, okay, you're gonna have issues. You will have to center yourself over and over and over again. It's a continual calibration process. That's because the energies are shifting so fast, okay? And you are good at this. You can do this. You just got to do it, okay? Self-clearing. Those are all non-brainers. do the I am breathing, do what what already helps you, and also allow this creativity to find out new things that work for you. This is why we do the workshop in Iceland for you, to show you other ways. This whole month of April is all about finding new ways, guys. And while there's a lot of stuff going on in the collective, and I want to warn you here too, these higher lows and these higher highs and lower lows, they affect everything and everybody. Raw life force isn't something that people are used to be dealing with. That's the first chakra. So they all go into survival fear. And unfortunately, there's also a lot of people who get so caught in their black and whiteness and their idealism that they see themselves in a place of total panic and no way out. And they may perhaps lash out. These next 2 weeks are times where we can see bad things happening. Psychotic, sociopathic things. Right? Because they have no means of contextualizing this and harnessing this. And when a person gets to that place and has no support, or is even surrounded by people who who further sort of cement that idealism, religious fanatism, for instance, or political bigotism, and all that, then, these people go into places where they think that killing will be the only thing that they can do to make a difference, which, of course, is completely off the charts, psychotic. Okay. On the level of love and lovingness and how we sort of integrate our heart here, we'll actually experience something very positive next week, and that is a conjunction of our 4th and our 7th chakra. So our heart is really moving into understanding what true self-love means. It's the connection to source. So 4th and 7th, it's a very beautiful combination. And then towards the end of next week, the 3rd and the 5th chakra comes in, which has to do with the expression part and how congruent you are. Okay, and whether this is based on mutual exchange and working things out together, or whether you go into this more egotistical place, this more sort of self-gain and greed. So whenever the 1st chakra is activated, and when it triggers things in people such as survival, but also lack, okay, then as a coping mechanism, you also see greed or neediness. Okay. So physically, I've already mentioned this, nightmares and etheric activity. I'm expecting that you guys have been dealing with this here for a couple of weeks already. These weird sensations and so forth. This shouldn't be anything new to you. But know that these ups and downs that you have been experiencing, sometimes even within a day, that this will continue. Okay? And you will feel pulled to, or at least you were, pulled into this place of wanting to cave in, wanting to check out, and not really doing anything that helps you to move forward. So you're going to have to really discipline yourself here and come back to yourself. That's very, very important. These last 2 weeks was a lot, issues with your eyes, issues with your skin, with your hair, with your sinuses. The next week I'm expecting more issues with, even more issues with your mobility apparatus, your legs. People will have knee issues, they will flare up. Also stuff with your thighs. Okay, so watch this a little bit, make sure that you stretch. And for those of you who have a hard time sort of finding this equilibrium with exercise and physicality, my big tip for you is find an exercise that you can easily integrate into your life. For me, because I work so much, I often, the only exercise that I get is walking my dog while I'm talking to you. Okay? So these are the times where, where I can actually get off that chair and get a little bit of movement that's healthy. So when I have no sessions, then I have to do something for me. I have to stretch. I have to make sure that I don't lose muscle mass. I have to eat really well, and most and foremost, as you've already heard me say this a million times, drink a lot of water. This next week is a good time for spring cleaning, guys. Your house, repaint your apartment. Really go into this place where you're like, okay, I've had it. I'm letting go now. I'm really clearing all this out, but also energetically. So this is a good time for an energy clearing session if you feel like you need one. As I said in the energy update, what can help you here on a physiological level to up your energy is to go into making more realistic goals, break things down into smaller steps, and make sure that you have these small successes every day, because this ups your dopamine levels, and that gets you out of that dark night of the soul place very, very quickly. Okay. Emotionally, like I've already indicated, the overwhelmingness of this can get you into the place of externalization and the place of neediness. So you guys got to really watch out with your codependency next week, and addictions, of course. But it also greed. So you can also get into this place where you just want to clamp up with everything. So, this is what then gets you stuck. So you want to really witness whether this is, or whether this requires you to let go of something, or whether this challenge that you're experiencing requires you to push through. Personally, I always recommend to push through things. Every time your ego is challenged, every time you hear it kicking and screaming, you are growing. So don't be afraid of any of this. Just accept this as a continual shift, and know that, whenever you are black and white, whenever you insist on just this one way, then know that you're already in a restrictive place here. You have to find, this place where you can really trust in your guidance without doubting it. Okay, so follow through with your guidance, guys. That's my big tip for next week on this emotional level. On the mental level, intellectual level, you might see exactly what it's like to end up in this rigid sort of belief place within yourself or within others. I mean, it's so wonderful to watch this if you have just a tiny little bit of humor and you can apply this to yourself. Just crack up laughing about how your inner judgment makes you believe that there is only one way, or it can only be like this, and if it's not, then it's wrong. And even how you try to control your control and judge your judgment. Those are patterns, guys. Then you are actively witnessing the dynamics of your ego. All right, so let that go. Don't get caught in your experience. Don't get caught in just this constant monitoring and observing. Go into the witnesser. All right, and see how that can help you to move past things. Understanding how your ego works helps you in this way, and it also helps you to combat your critical inner voice. In relationships, I've mentioned this before, it's all about unconditionality, and unconditionality is something that we have been, basically disconnected from through sort of matrix programming. Okay, so you need to really go into this place with yourself, like I've mentioned in the energy update, to see those parts of you that couldn't see it any differently, that were innocent to a degree, and that then can help you to move past this understanding of love that you have to be in a certain way or perform in a certain way in order to be worthy or in order to deserve it. And always understand that your partner or your family or your child or whatever has to come or has to deal with the same thing. Those of you who already know that you have a tendency for being codependent, contemplate a little bit about the difference between being nice and being kind. Okay, being kind is a value, that's a virtue, that's a life choice. Nice can be a pretense sometimes, and there you can get caught. Speak your truth. You can speak your truth in a kind way. Now, the other may accuse you of being rude, especially if you live in the United States. Truth is not very welcome and is often called rude. Don't get distracted by this. You're not being rude by speaking your truth. You have to express how far, whatever conditions or circumstances work for you and how far they're not working for you. On the contrary, you're expressing what is not acceptable for you and what needs to change. Protects your relationship. It ups your relationship. It ups your chances of actually being in a true place with your partner or with your loved ones. Okay? So don't let yourselves get thrown off by other people telling you that you're rude. Watch your triggers and ask yourself if you are truly expressing or living what you love doing. And if you're not, then don't beat yourself up with not good enough or whatever. Then change what you're doing. Okay? Now, spiritually, this is a very beautiful week, actually, because connecting with source code, connecting with source, is an extremely moving process. And many of you who are in regular transmissions know this, what this feels like when for the first time you actually tap into this feeling of really sensing your inner light. The problem with that is it triggers raw life force in you, and that can go off into wrong ways. Okay, that can go off into sexuality. This can go off into thinking that you need to love somebody else. But in essence, it is the love for the divine that you're feeling there, and all you need to do is really get it past yourself. So embrace this transformation process. Embrace this spiritual maturing process. We're going to talk about spiritual growth next week, and allow yourself to go into this wondrous child place, where you really see the world with this creative eyes that are just like embracing everything that is there as this wonder. Okay, that's when you get closer to what divine love and divine creation is. It's a wonder, it's a miracle. And perhaps even, go about your day or start your day with, I wonder what's going to happen today. I wonder how this is all going to unfold today. Focus on gratitude, how far you've already come. Okay. And then energetically, I've mentioned this, dealing with source code isn't easy. Things can go really wrong very quickly, so you got to become more aware of what energy fields you are exposing yourself to, what you're tuning into, what you're energizing. In order to tap into this higher potential, into this attractor field that I explained earlier, you need to make sure that the capacity of love is sufficient enough. And that happens through you upping your vibratory rate consistently, catching when you go low, immediately letting it go, immediately neutralizing it, and recentering, refocusing. That's what it means to fully inhabit your energy body. And of course, etheric protection, as I've mentioned this many times. So these are the tips from me to you for this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you guys in some of the transmissions, or at least in the public workshop, Empath Narcissist Healing Process on Sunday. Would love to have you guys there. Bye-bye.